I've always been a lifelong fan of motocross. I've always raced through on and off throughout most of my life, nothing stellar. Had a really serious accident when I was 18 years of age, nearly lost my right foot, had it pinned back on, so never really pushed myself that hard. Always worried about injuring myself again. So I'm an average rider, but the chances now come as I'm riding in the veterans class to probably tick something off the bucket list, and the World Veterans Championship at Glen Helen is probably the top of the thing on my bucket list. Decided to do Glen Helen World Vets around Christmas time, and most winters, because the weather's so bad in the UK, we always go out to Spain in the winter for a couple of weeks riding at Linny Meakin's place in Fortuna. So we went out there, and I knew I was going to be starting the preparation for riding at Glen Helen, and perfect hard tracks out there, good weather. And everything was going well in February, and was riding really well. Came back to the UK, first meeting of the year was at a track called Pattingham. Not one of my favourite tracks anyway, at the best of times. I've had a fair few serious injuries in my time, so I think when a track's quite narrow and there's a lot of riders bouncing around, I'm always a bit cautious on those type of circuits. Anyway, we'd been riding in Spain, come back, and I was really pleased with my speed, went out in practice, set a good time. First race, went to the line, the gate dropped, a rubbish start, completely mistimed it. I was towards the back of the pack, started picking my way through the field, no problem at all, started to really settle into a nice groove, and in fact the way I was moving through the field, I was really enjoying my race. Halfway point of the race, came down one of the little steep banks they are, but they're only short little sharp drops, but they always have a little turn straight at the bottom of them. Didn't even come off the bike, but what had happened, the ground had wore away and there was like a flat rock there, and just as I came into that corner, the front wheel started to wash out. Put my foot out, and straight away I knew I'd done something serious. There was an almighty pain, and I mean, I'd broken most bones in my body, and as soon as this went, it was as painful as a broken bone. It was straight away, I knew I'd done something serious. Surgery was booked and rode right up until the day of surgery, and went in for the surgery. Everything went okay. Unfortunately, the ACL wasn't damaged, just the meniscus, but they did find out I'd got severe arthritis in the knee, probably from years of racing, which they scraped out. The leg, even now after Glen Helen, I still can't straighten it, but at the time of the injury, I had doubts whether I'd be able to go to Glen Helen. To do the World Vets in California, we've chosen a company called Race South Cal. Well, Stephen Hyden is the guy who runs Race South Cal, long-time rider himself, and he'd gone out there, set up the company. He knew, as a rider himself, what he wanted out there, and that's the thing really. It's run by riders for riders, so the package is perfect.
There is nowhere else in the world like Southern California for having as many tracks within such close proximity. That's why all the top riders at least have to base themselves in California for some of the year. We got 10 tracks within an hour, and if you're a top professional racer and you've got to drive for 2 or 3 hours each way to get to a track to ride, you know, that takes a lot out of you every day. You know, within 2 minutes, we're on the freeway from the house and we're, you know, on our way to the track. This truly is the best place to base yourself if you want a variety of different tracks to ride it and somewhere to ride every day of the week.
When we arrived at Race South Cal, Stephen was riding at Glen Helen in a local meeting, so we went to go and check him out straight away. I knew he was going to be in for something the following weekend because there's some serious hills on that circuit.
Got a pretty bad start. They held the gate quite a long time, so I kind of rolled into it a little bit, and then we fought pretty hard for the first few laps. I got through to the sort of just behind the lead pack, and we were fighting pretty hard, and then I kind of ran out of steam towards the end. Just settled into a pace and cruised the last few laps in. They're usually about 20-minute races here, but I think that one ran closer to 30, so quite tiring, quite worn out. Tracks, you know, Glen Helen, so really rough. Hard work, but still a lot of fun. Enjoying myself out here. It's a little breezy and hot, so it's quite dry. Get a dry mouth while you're out there, but all in all, not too bad a race, and I'm really working on my fitness and speed and endurance and line choices, getting ready for next weekend, because that's the big one.
So the next day was our first training day, and we went to Kahula Creek. And we also met a lot of the other guys that were on the tour as well. A lot of guys from Australia had come over.
My name's Gavin. I'm from South Australia. I'm 45 years old and come to race the Glen Helen Vets. So I started at the age of 7, raced through the junior ranks, did a few runners up in Australian titles and juniors, and then progressed into the seniors when I was 15. Started racing pro when I was 18 through till I was about 21. So raced all the Australian national series, few supercross and motocross races overseas. Did a lot of Indonesia, New Zealand.
Okay, Kahula Creek, track's been here for a long time. It's really great dirt, nice and flowing up and down the hills. It's known as one of the more motocross tracks in this area. It doesn't have too many of the supercross style jumps. It's a lot of fun. The World Vet Tour has, the World Vet Champion of Glen Helen has classes for every age group from 25 and up. So we have guys here from all over the world right now, from Australia, from Finland, from England. They're going to race in different age group brackets at Glen Helen next weekend. And today is their first day riding, so we're just going to get the bikes set up and get them on the track.
Yeah, my name's Dan Phillips. I come from Sydney, New South Wales, in Australia. Well, I didn't start riding until I was late, like about 12 years old. Then I started racing at 15. Raced juniors, I wasn't really fast in juniors, but then once I hit seniors, I was starting to crack on a little bit. Yeah, done all right, you know, for a guy that never trained and stuff like that, so yeah.
Kahula Creek, a little bit nervous when we first got there, and straight away as well, when it was the altitude as well, the air was really dry and hot out there, and we were out in the desert. I think it was a perfect choice as the first day there as well, because everybody's a little bit anxious when you first get there to see what the tracks are like. It was a nice track to ride.
Yeah, it's gnarly. It's well kept. There's so many places here to ride. It's insane. It's it's a motocrosser's dream out here.
All the motocross parks in California have a vets track, or what they call a vets track, and most of those tracks are as equally on par with probably a Maxis British Championship motocross track over in England. I mean, the facilities are that good.
Track preparation is the big thing you notice out here. The jumps are absolutely perfect. There's no lips or kickers really that we tend to get back home on some of the tracks in the UK. The water, we're in the middle of the desert. They've got water tankers that go around, water even on the practice track, water in the track as the riders go around. In between, they go past and the water cannon goes out. It's perfection.
One of the things that had concerned me out there was because I'd only done a few practice days, and I think one local club meeting with the knee, and then going out to Kahula Creek in California. I was really pleased. Although I've still got limited movement in my knee, can hardly, well, straighten the knee at all really, whether that's due to the arthritis or the ligament damage. But riding wise, it was no problem at all. Took a couple of hits off some of the jumps. Didn't seem to cause me any problems at all. So my name's Paul Minihane and you're joining me on my California dream to ride in the World Vets at Glen Helen. 3 more training days and the next one is at Parlour Raceway. Parlour Raceway, the minute you drive through the gateway, you kind of knew that there was something a bit special at that place as well.
Again, the standard of the tracks here is just phenomenal. We're just going to ride the Vets track today. And the Vets track is probably bigger and more impressive than any British national track that we'd ride or see back home in England. Going to catch up with the other guys as well, see how they're all getting on with the trip.
Today I'm feeling much better. Just don't want to wear myself out. I've done 4 motos and that's about it for today.
Awesome yesterday, lots of blisters, hung over like hell. Today's a bit better. Didn't drink last night. Oh, okay, I lied. Had 2 beers. But yeah, feeling good. Bike's going better. Yeah, awesome.
They take you around to some of the famous shops and bands and factories. So we went to Troy Lee's place, and Troy Lee's place is just phenomenal. And again, Troy Lee is something that you grow up with since I was a kid. All the stars have had their helmets painted by Troy Lee. And you're literally there and wandering around it, more of a shop or a museum. I don't know what, there's so many, so much stuff around the place, helmets, leathers, there's an Indy car, there's a speedway bike, a whole coaster collection of motocross bikes and posters for all the events that they've been involved with over the years. And then lo and behold, Malcolm Stewart kind of drops in and it's like, it's surreal. He just walks into the shop, obviously he's sponsored by him, but there you go, Malcolm Stewart, probably one of the biggest rising stars on the American motocross scene. Day 3 training day was at a place called Milestone.
Milestone today, 3rd day of riding. Had a rest day yesterday, much needed rest day as well. Because even though the tracks are really prepped, all the tracks are very jumpy, so it does take a bit of out on your body. Milestone is a very impressive place. There's a supercross track over there, and we've already got a few top riders testing for the pre-season for the Anaheim opening round of the Supercross. They've redeveloped the main track out behind me. Obviously I'm going to be sticking to the vet track, no point crashing our brains out. Obviously we want to stay in one piece for the weekend. So let's see how we get on here at Milestone.
The pro track again, I'm riding in the World Vets, there's no point in me going to try and prove anything on the pro track because they are seriously gnarly looking jumps. And again, the Vets track there is far more technical and probably as good as anything you get in the UK anyway, so had loads of fun riding on the Vets track there. Came up short on one of the tabletops, jarred my back quite a bit, and that really gave me a bit of an eye-opener because although I was trying to ride within my limits and be quite conservative, that was something I wasn't expecting. Fortunately, my friend Blaine, who's out there helping me look after my bikes and doing a bit of filming for us, he suffers with a bad back, so he got a load of painkillers, so it was raid his medicine cabinet.
It was crap. That was good, right? Had a good day. Almost landed on yours truly, twice. Had a good day. Had fun. Bike's all ready to go for Glen Helen. Should be a good day tomorrow.
Warm out there. I preferred Parlour, I think. It was a bit more flowing and yeah, it was a lot less people out there as well, so it was a bit better out of Parlour the other day to get a few more laps in. So, but no, it's all good. The tracks are always prepped well out here, so it's good.
I found today tough actually. My first session, when I just went out to look at the track, I cased it a couple of times, it did my confidence in and I come off, watched it out in the corner, so I've struggled all day. No grip coming into them when you, so if you have down strip or something, you seem to be, but I found that track prep's brilliant, but that was a little bit more, all the jumps, the tabletops were like dragging back little doubles and triples, and if you're not really confident, you've got to be careful because obviously you can case it and then there's no time to recover. You kind of like swapping about and then you're straight into the next like little tabletop or something like that. So because I'm coming in and it's washing out, all of it feels really sloppy. All in all, I found I'm really working hard today, but good. I'm feeling good. We're at Glen Helen tomorrow. Now we've already seen Glen Helen, obviously because we went there to go and watch Stephen ride on a Saturday when we arrived. So I know there's nothing that's going to be too much of a bother there, so it's quite natural. So all in all, we've survived all probably the worst tracks, the Supercross tracks. So yeah, Glen Helen should be good. I'm looking forward to it.
So the last training day before the World Vets comes around, obviously we'd been to Glen Helen to watch Stephen race pretty much as soon as we arrived, so we kind of knew we weren't going to be daunted by the circuit, but we rode on a Thursday and it was an open practice, so you got pros and a lot of fast kids on super minis out there. Okay, so it's Thursday morning, we're at Glen Helen now. It's our first day, just testing today. The Vets practice day is really on Friday, but so many riders are going to be here. We've come on the Thursday. A little bit daunting. It's got a reputation of being one of the toughest tracks in the world, and it's open practice as well, so there's a lot of pro riders out here today, and there's some seriously big jumps, so I don't want to get landed on. But no, let's see how we get on. But looking forward to it. Went there on the open practice day. Great. As soon as I rode around, I fell in love with the track. At the hills, I was kind of a little bit, when we went there, especially the first climb, because if you're a British rider and you've been to Hawkston Park, imagine a hill probably twice the size of that, but you go up the first hill, then it levels out and then goes up the second part of the hill, which is like virtually a vertical wall. And it was brilliant. I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, there was a hip jump over the far side of the circuit, which they took out for the Vets day. It would turn out they took out for the Vets day, and I had so much fun. It was a huge jump, and really did enjoy clearing that. A little bit sketchy in the wind as the afternoon got on, but it was great fun. But straight away, fell in love with Glen Helen. Probably my favourite circuit in the world. We just had a bit of a test day at Glen Helen. We came to watch Stephen ride here on the Saturday, the day after we first arrived, and I just thought, yeah, it didn't look too bad. It's quite it looked easy, and Stephen was going, oh, it's rough, and we were thinking, I can tell you now, I've never ridden a track like it. The hills are phenomenal. They make Hawkston Park, if you've ever been to Hawkston Park back in England, it looked like a molehill. The downhills, they're really choppy on the way down. It gets so rough coming out of some of the corners. After the section after the bridge, there are boulders. Most of the time you're actually just riding the track. I'd hate to think that I'd get stuck in a race with somebody, because I think you'd make a mistake really easily. This track could really bite you. Great day though. I mean, if you ever get a chance to come here, this is probably one of the ultimate tracks. It's just a phenomenal thing to ride. The first turn, you can't describe how banked that is going into that turn. You really do feel high up when you're rolling around the outside of it.
First 10 laps, house. Next 20, beautiful. Phil Bennett. Ooh. Hang on. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? No, all good. All good. I loved it today. A good day today, so yeah. Hopefully the rest of it goes well and I don't crash, and have a good race day.
We've got a rest day tomorrow, let our bodies heal. I'm probably going to need it as well. I've been borrowing some painkillers off Blaine, because I jarred my back yesterday at Milestone, and the square edge bumps here are really making it really sore on the back, so I've just had another painkiller. So glad of a rest day tomorrow, and let's see what a race day brings.
A tough track. It was pretty intimidating out there today. There was a lot of guys, a lot of fast guys out there of all ages buzzing around us. So yeah, it took me a good 10 laps to get the track dialed. Looking forward to Saturday to riding my own age group rather than have kids flying over the top of me. So bring it on, we'll see what happens.
Okay, here we are. We're at Friday evening now. The guys are just prepping the bikes now, ready for this weekend's race. We're racing Saturday and Sunday at Glen Helen. It was a veterans practice day today. We decided to do the Thursday, which was open, and we mixed in with the pro riders, and it was a bit chaotic out there at times out there, and Glen Helen is an incredibly daunting circuit. The hills on Glen Helen are absolutely huge. When I've seen it on TV and everything, you think, oh, no, it can't be any worse than Hawkston Park. They're massive. I haven't seen hills like that in Europe. Going down, but it was a real good buzz to ride around that circuit and get it dialed in. And I'm glad we did a day's practice in there before just turning up racing, practicing in the morning, because I think it was one of those circuits where you need to go away and get it into your head The whole week has been fantastic. It's exceeded my expectations. Race South Cal have got a fantastic setup here. They've been going over 10 years now. What Stephen has done here, he delivers a kind of the dream. And when I say the dream, if you race motocross, Southern California, it's the Mecca, it's the home of motocross. When I grew up racing, it was all about Ricky Johnson, Bailey, O'Mara, Lachine. These guys, McGrath, this is where they grew up riding, and this is where we watched them race as kids on videos and everything before the internet. And to come here, Race South Cal kind of deliver that dream. They supply the bikes. They're a great bunch of guys. They really work hard. They know what they're doing. It's just all laid on for you. You literally get up in the morning, they take you to the circuit. You just sign the paper on the desk as you go in. Everything's sorted. The bikes are there waiting for you. And it's just been a brilliant experience. So I can't thank Stephen and Race South Cal enough for putting together such a great package. Hopefully we're going to do well in the races. There are some very good riders, even in the vets. I know in my class we've got a couple of guys. They've been top 5 national championship runners, and some of them a little bit younger than me as well. I'm going to be in the 45 plus, but I'm feeling confident. So race day finally arrives, and in true fashion I suppose, most of my race days we're late for practice. Practice is already underway and everybody's blasting around the track. Bit of a panic, got ready, out onto the circuit. The changes are made, they took the hip jump out, put a new hill section in, which the new hill section they put in already, even in practice, halfway up it's almost sheer rock. There's like a little ledge, and so I could see that being a bit of a problem for some of the riders in a race. So, which in turn can cause a lot of problems if you've got riders skittling around on the rock. But loved it. Practice felt good, and I was really looking forward to the first race. Okay, so it's race day now. We've arrived. The schedule was a little bit slightly off. Practice had started when we arrived. Fortunately, it was free practice, so we've missed free practice. Just got our group practices now. Windy, very, very windy conditions here. Looks like for the race, and there was warning signs along the motorway as the freeway as we came along. All in all out, feeling good. I think everybody's a lot nervous every time we've been going practicing. The last couple of days, it's been very jovial banter on the way to the tracks. It's very quiet, so I think everybody's kind of feeling the pressure today. But no, we're all looking forward to it. First race though, and even in the UK, I always suffer with nerves, probably only on the first race. I don't know why, because as soon as I've done the first race on the day, it doesn't even bother me, go down to the line. But the first race, and as any rider will tell you, you're pulling at your gloves and it's just like, oh, what am I doing here type of thing. And that kind of affected my first race. Just didn't get a jump out the gate at all. I was almost napping on that one.
Okay, we've just done the first race. A real eye-opener that was. The first turn's like nothing I've ever experienced before, because can't describe how banked it is, and it's a quarter of a mile. A start straight into that as well, and the roost into it was phenomenal. And the first hill, which was probably the bit I was worried about the most, lived up to its expectations. There were riders literally all over the shop, and there was rocks coming down at me. Now I've got that first race out of the way, I'll be okay. I think it was just daunting going into that one, not knowing what to expect. And the track is, although we rode here Thursday on a practice day, already we've only done one block of racing, and it's so rough going up the hills. It's almost like hitting curbstones. You've just really, and there's a lot of shadows still, because it's still early morning here at the minute, so you've got to watch your lines and look out for there's a lot of holes up on the hills. So, but all in all, I'm good. I'm not too sure we went. Brian reckons about 13th, 14th, so I'm just going to go and see where the results are and check. But yeah, I'm happy now, and I can relax a bit going into the second race.
No, the start wasn't so good. I didn't really get a good drive. I got a bit of zigzag over the gate. But I went deep into the first turn, knowing it put me on the inside in the second turn. Came in the second turn as deep as hard as I could. Came out in about 4th, which was nice. And then I just sat on the lead 3 for the first lap, knowing I could take my time a bit. And then the guy that was in 3rd, I pushed my way around him, got up onto the guy in 2nd, and you know, he looked like he got a little bit tired, so I made my move there, and I was about 5 seconds or so behind the leader. And I just started digging into his lead, and by the time we got onto the last lap, I was within a second or so of him. And he was taking the wide, smooth line down the hill, so I decided to just go as hard as I could down the more rough inside line, knowing that if I made some time on him, I'd have the inside and I could push him wide, and just held my line. Once I got past him, I think he was tired, so he didn't give too much of a fight, so I just cruised around the rest of the lap, and not bad. Hopefully we can do the same again in the second moto.
Yep, first moto went well, got a whole shot, and then pretty much led from start to finish. It was nice to be comfortable out there rather than the last few days with all the other pro guys, so it was nice to ride around with the old boys and find my own pace. So yeah, it was a 5-lapper, and I felt comfortable, so I'm looking forward to the same in the next one, so see how we go.
So we get 2 races in a day, and obviously the first race, probably not the best I wanted to do because of nerves. Second race, feeling a lot more confident. Got a good start, good drive around the first turn, running in about 8th position for a good chunk of the race, and then I did start to get a little bit tired.
Okay, we've just done the second race. First race I was really nervous, so didn't get the best of starts and made a lot of mistakes. That one, much better drop on the gate. Had a really good drive into the first turn, and I hit the hole and it snatched the bars. So that gave me a bit of a moment going into the first turn, and it's a very fast start straight into there. I think I ran about 8th for a fair little while, and then at the end of the race I did get tired, and I had to avoid a couple of fallen riders, so hopefully the fallen riders might have moved me up a little bit further. It was so hard out there, and you can't breathe as well because the air was so dry. At least the wind had dropped down a bit and we was able to do a couple of more of the jumps a bit more. But it was really a case of trying to find a good line. And he was having to use a lot of the track just to try and avoid some of the bumps. I mean, it's hard to explain it. You'll probably see on the onboard footage, they're almost like curbstones. And he's bouncing off them and everything, so you're just desperately trying to look for a smooth line, and of course everybody else is hitting them and they're bouncing all over the place, so it's a bit manic there with all the other traffic, but I loved it now, so I'm going to check where my overalls were, and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow now.
Whole shot again, led from start to finish, but the track's roughening up, and found a good rhythm out there, was flowing along, getting over most of the jumps fairly tidy. So yeah, it was yeah, good race, 5 laps and nice and consistent, looking for lines. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow and having a crack at the big one, so we'll see how we go.
Yeah, well, that was awesome. Had a good first race, good start. Came from 6th, probably back to 3rd. Got that done. Second race was a bit gnarlier. Yeah, sunny in a few spots was a bit blinding. The track was, maybe couldn't see much of it, but yeah, okay start and okay finish, but not bad for 3rd overall in the day.
Again, I made life difficult for myself by not having the best of starts. You know, the sun was quite low in the sky coming in the first turn, and rolled off to try and be safe, and you know, got boxed out a little bit. So it took me to the end of the first lap to get up to 3rd. Then after then, you know, the chase was on to try and get the 2 guys in front of me, and managed to pass the guy I needed to beat to get the overall. So yeah, it wasn't too bad of a race. The hardest part was just heading up the hills with the sun just cresting the hills. Could not see a thing. That was the hardest part. The track was rough, but not too bad. There were some good lines out there if you really look for them. So. All in all, pretty good day. Nice 1-1 moto scores in 30+ expert class. We look forward to racing the pro class tomorrow in the feature race.
But overall, that was our first day's racing at Glen Helen, and I was happy with that. And I was on a high then for the following day.
So we have two different products. One of them is our standard product, you know, our original race SoCal, where you stay on our ranch. You know, we got room for 20 guys to stay, and it's more hostel style, sort of communal living conditions. Although we do have a nice, you know, area for everyone to hang out, pool and spa, and then that business runs all Honda 4-strokes and some Yamaha 2-strokes, and the bikes are all pretty much, you know, everything's standard, everything's the same, and that's our entry level, you know, really aimed at our sort of 18 to 30-year-old guys that, you know, want, you know, they don't really care, they just want to come out here and ride and live the dream. And then we have our premium product, which we have a nicer house in town, maximum of 10 people can stay there. It's also got a nice pool and spa. The living situation's a little nicer. And then we carry a 250 and a 450 from all 5 major brands. So for anyone who's a little bit more fussy about what they want to ride, then that business is more for them. It's about 25% more expensive. So it really comes down to personal preference, and we are the only company that really offer you the 2 different choices. And you know, you can go in both directions. It's up to you. You let us know what you want to do and we'll make sure it happens.
So we arrived for race day on Sunday. Now, one of the things that is completely alien to us as a European motocross is, at Glen Helen it's so big and there's so many riders out there, they'll run 2 to 3 races at a time on the circuit. So literally the gate will drop, off goes your 40 riders, they get to the top of the hill, the gate is lining up, as soon as at the top of the hill, the next gate drops and off goes the next race. Same if they need to run 3, they'll get another load of riders out. So there's a lot of riders out on the circuit. So this is my first experience of this, and I am on this day 2, the second gate drop. So the first time I've ever had to experience this, so I've obviously watched a couple of other races, everybody lines up, gate drops and goes. So I've seen where I want to go on the gate, and there's a couple of riders there in front of me, so I'm waiting patiently. I'm thinking they're going to go, gate's going to drop, and then I can just drop into that spot. That's how it's supposed to work. These guys are obviously in the same race as me and decided that's where they're going to go, and they're looking after that position. So the first race, the gate drops and they're still sat there, and I'm like, oh no, I had to pull the bike back, in a bit of a panic, got to try and find a spot on the gate, drops in down into between a couple of riders. Of course I'm panicking and all this, like, because I knew I'd only got a couple of seconds till I get to the top of the hill and the gate drops. Schoolboy error, I mean real novice stuff. The gate drops, I'm revving, I'm still in neutral. I was like, I don't believe this. Anyway, caught him up as I'm hitting the first turn, so left myself with a lot of work to do, but straight away I knew it was going to be a tough way to battle back from that. Pulled up, I think, back up into the middle of the pack, but straight away I was disappointed. It was just one of them things, and next year I know certainly if I'm second gate, I'm just going to get on that gate and hold my position, stuff anybody else behind me. Just done race 1. I'd planned to do 2 classes today, but I felt really good in practice, so I decided to save myself for the 45 plus. Not a happy bunny, and I think that's kind of blown any chances of an overall today, because I did feel really good this morning.
Okay, well that race was 30 plus pro, which is the toughest class of the weekend with the fastest guys and the most money up for grabs. It's about $4,000 up for grabs in that race. So it brings out some big names like Michael Sleater, Ryan Marias, Chris Kiefer, all ex-top professional racers. I was battling inside the top 10 for most of the moto after getting a pretty good start, having a really good scrap with some guys. Track was rough. We were on the track for a good 25 minutes in that moto, so it was really tough. I settled into a bit of a pace. I'm not quite sure where we finished, but we were, in and around about 10th place, which is not too bad for how thick of a field it is. So quite happy with that. Hopefully if I have a good, consistent second moto, good start and be consistent, we should get a top 10 overall, which means we'll win some money, so that'd be fantastic.
Well, missed the start. I can, from last, chasing all race, got back to 4th overall, so yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah, all good. Whole shot again. Jumped a bit slow off the start this time, but has managed to come through. So we had double grid, so we had another bunch of guys in front of us. So I won my class and had to work through some of the slower guys in the first grid. But yeah, it was good fun. So I'm looking forward to a second one and wrapping it up.
We are from Brazil, and we have our rider Richard Berais from Brazil riding over here. Luciano is riding over here, and Everson is riding over here too. It's the 3rd year I am coming to the USA to the World Championship. We are with 3 riders. Richard was 1st in his class, Luciano was 4th, and Everson was 2nd.
I'm Hans Beek from Netherlands, Europe. I ride over there by the veterans also, and by starting class. So I ride almost every weekend, work for myself. I did everything. I rode in Europe with the IMBA series in the program after it. So I rode several races in England, France, Switzerland, like Wohlen. And after that, there's only one place to be, and that's over here. If you like motocross, you have to be here. My races today are much better than yesterday. Not on the first place, but I had real fun and good starts. And I think about 13th place from 25 guys from all over the world. So I'm happy, and I'm happy I'm over here. Nothing broke, so I had a real good day.
I always prefer to start off the outside of the gate, usually sweep round if anybody's a bit of carnage on the inside. That's usually my game plan. Gate dropped, brilliant drive all the way up there, and I can't begin to say it's a really fast start straight at Glen Helen. You power into that first turn, just got pushed a little bit high as we went into the first turn. Road round now. Just had a great time out there, loved every minute of it. Worked my way through the pack, and I think I finished about 19th, 18th in that one. But that was my weekend, and I was happy with that. It's one of the hardest races I've ever had, actually. I was on my arm, I've got people bashing into me, rocks everywhere, but I finished about 22nd in that one, so I was pretty gutted after and making a mess of the first race as well.
A better start, mid-pack, caught the that I was supposed to beat. Caught him, left him, passed him. Idiot like me, stalled it last lap, gave 3rd over all the way. I'm a dickhead. Awesome day, awesome day, awesome week. Met some new mates, good.
So we'd done it. We'd ridden at Glen Helen in the World Vets Motocross Championship, but most of all I'd gone out there and probably ticked that main thing off the bucket list, but it's not going to be a one-off. I want to go out there and do it again. Big thanks to Stephen Heighton at Race South Cal. Also to Lee Butler at Kenny Clothing and Jason and all the crew at Rip and Roll Goggles. Done a brilliant job helping me out. Brand 7X Clothing. And we're going to be back there next year. And I'll be in the 50+ class then and knowing what to expect, so we'll be looking forward to that one.